Well, a recent dip in tourism is shaking up the Strip, and it's the casino dealers who are paying the price.
8 News Now reporter Nick Summers sharing how this downturn is affecting the people behind the table.
Las Vegas has long been the king of casino entertainment, but now cracks are showing. With rising debt, dwindling visitors, and tough competition, 5 iconic Vegas casinos are teetering on the edge of bankruptcy. Which one will go under first, and what does that mean for the future of Sin City? Join us as we reveal 5 Vegas casinos that are going bankrupt soon. Number 5, the Mirage. The Mirage was once the shining jewel of the Las Vegas Strip. Built to amaze visitors with its erupting volcano, lush tropical gardens, and extravagant design, it became a symbol of what Vegas could offer: luxury, excitement, and a sense of magic. For decades, it drew millions of visitors every year, and guests could feel the excitement the moment they walked through the doors. The Mirage represented more than a casino. It was an experience, a destination, and a reason to visit Las Vegas. But today, the story is very different.
Happening tomorrow, the world will say goodbye to the Mirage Hotel and Casino. We're taking a live look here. Guests are making their last memories at the first true Las Vegas.
The Mirage is struggling financially, and the problems are deep. Occupancy rates have dropped significantly. At its peak, the Mirage often reported room occupancy near 95%, filling nearly every suite on busy weekends. Now, numbers show occupancy closer to 80%, sometimes even lower on weekdays. Fewer visitors mean fewer people on the casino floor, fewer diners and restaurants, and less spending on shows and entertainment. With fewer guests, revenue has begun to decline rapidly. Part of the problem comes from the high costs associated with staying at the Mirage. Room rates have risen steadily over the past few years. A room that once cost just over $100 per night during peak times can now easily exceed $300. Added fees, such as resort charges of $40 to $50 per night, parking fees, and extra service charges are making the Mirage far less attractive to tourists who can find better deals at other resorts. Rising food prices inside the property also drive guests away. What used to be a $50 buffet is now closer to $100 per person. Tourists are starting to notice that the Mirage is expensive, and fewer are returning. The casino itself is showing its age. The gaming floor, once bustling with energy, now struggles to maintain its previous charm. Table games like blackjack and roulette still exist, but the tables are fewer, and minimum bets have steadily increased, discouraging casual gamblers. The iconic attractions, like the volcano show, are still operating but require constant maintenance, adding to operating costs. Technical problems have caused occasional cancellations, disappointing visitors who expected a flawless experience. Even small attractions, once a draw for families, are aging, and many have not received significant updates for years. Maintenance costs are another massive burden.
Firsthand. Fontainebleau announced some layoffs, Resorts World announced some layoffs. We want those casinos to be very active, successful, and robust because that gives our break-in dealers.
The tropical gardens, waterfalls, and fountains that once enchanted visitors are expensive to maintain. Water, electricity, and air conditioning bills have all risen over the years, especially with Las Vegas's extreme summer heat. The property's rooms and suites are outdated, requiring renovations that could cost hundreds of millions of dollars. For MGM Resorts, the company that owns the Mirage, investing this kind of money is a risky move, especially when occupancy rates are declining and competitors are drawing attention with new, glitzy hotels. Competition is fierce on the Strip. New resorts with modern designs, advanced entertainment, and high-end dining options are capturing tourists who might have once chosen the Mirage. Properties like Resorts World and Allegiant Stadium area resorts offer experiences that feel newer and more luxurious, leaving the Mirage looking dated by comparison. Visitors who want a flashy modern vacation now often bypass the Mirage, even though it has historical value. Financially, the Mirage is burdened with debt. Reports indicate that the casino is struggling to keep up with both operating costs and debt payments. Attempts to sell the property or repurpose it have met with limited interest from investors. The potential sale or repurposing is complicated by its size and the costs required to modernize it.
Mirage will permanently close its doors tomorrow morning, and closing operations are already underway.
8 News Now reporter Mary Jane Belling.
Without a major investment or a creative solution, the financial strain could worsen, pushing the Mirage closer to bankruptcy. Analysts warn that if revenue continues to fall while costs rise, the Mirage could become unsustainable within a few years. If the Mirage is losing its luster, wait until you see the next casino, where the problem isn't just old facilities, it's decades of mismanagement threatening to sink the whole operation. Number 4. Tropicana Las Vegas. The Tropicana Las Vegas has long been a symbol of classic Las Vegas charm.
Opened its doors back in April of 1957, was the most expensive hotel ever built on the Strip at that time, costing
Opened over 6 decades ago, it was once a relaxed oasis for visitors seeking a quieter, welcoming experience. With its palm-lined entrances, warm-colored tiles, and modest casino floor, Tropicana offered a blend of comfort and nostalgia that newer mega-resorts could not replicate. Families, couples, and first-time tourists felt at home there. The property was affordable, approachable, and packed with history.
The iconic Tropicana Hotel over there in Las Vegas went out with a bang. The hotel imploded early this morning following a goodbye fireworks and drone show.
But today, that charm is fading fast, replaced by a growing sense of decline, uncertainty, and financial strain. One of the main issues facing Tropicana is declining bookings. Over the past 5 years, occupancy rates have steadily fallen from approximately 90% at peak weekends to closer to 75% on average. Weekdays are even lower, sometimes dropping below 60%. Part of the problem is pricing. Hotel and resort fees have risen sharply from under $30 per night just a few years ago to $50 or even $60 today. For a property whose rooms once cost under $100 per night, these fees represent a significant increase, causing visitors to rethink their options. Many travelers now compare Tropicana to newer resorts that offer luxury experiences for similar or slightly higher costs, making the historic charm feel insufficient. Revenue is following a similar downward trend. The casino floor, once bustling with activity, now struggles to maintain its previous energy. Table games are fewer, and the minimum bets have risen steadily, discouraging casual gamblers who might have filled the space. Slot machines remain, but revenue per machine has plateaued as tourists are increasingly drawn to modern, glitzy resorts with higher-end amenities. Restaurants and entertainment venues within Tropicana are also underperforming. Buffets, once a staple of Las Vegas charm, now struggle to fill seats at their high prices. Casual dining options face competition from newer resorts, where chefs and menus are aggressively marketed to capture visitor attention. Operational costs are another critical factor, pushing Tropicana toward the edge. Rising property taxes, labor shortages, and maintenance expenses have created a tight financial squeeze. The property requires constant upkeep, from air conditioning and plumbing to keeping the pools and gardens presentable. Utility bills have skyrocketed, especially during the extreme summer heat, adding tens of millions in annual costs. Renovation projects over the past decade have been sporadic and often delayed. Attempts to modernize rooms or update the casino floor were inconsistent, leaving many areas outdated. Guests walking into rooms or the main casino notice aging carpets, worn furniture, and faded paint, a stark contrast to the polished high-end resorts nearby. Ownership changes have also contributed to instability. Tropicana has changed hands several times in the last 20 years. Each new corporate owner promised revitalization, but renovations were often scaled back or postponed due to financial caution or competing priorities. Some projects were abandoned entirely, leaving half-finished upgrades that frustrated visitors and employees alike. Corporate mergers, including the consolidation under major hospitality companies, have reduced flexibility. Staffing cuts and layoffs have further weakened service quality. Employees report heavier workloads and less support, which translates to slower check-ins, delayed housekeeping, and declining restaurant service. Guests increasingly notice the difference, and negative reviews have multiplied online. Staff morale is another concern. Tropicana's workforce once prided itself on delivering friendly, approachable service. Long-term employees knew the property's quirks and could guide visitors with insider tips, creating the charm that made Tropicana memorable. Now, understaffing and corporate pressure have changed the environment, Experienced workers leave for newer resorts or alternative industries, and temporary hires struggle to maintain the standard. For visitors, this means less warmth, slower service, and a growing perception that the property is declining.
We've seen our enrollments drop, interest in becoming a dealer. We used to have a lot more people transition from out of state and sort of hear about Vegas, the opportunity that was.
Community reaction is mixed. Locals remember Tropicana as part of Las Vegas history, a place that supported tourism and jobs while providing a familiar experience. Yet, even residents acknowledge the struggles. Some express nostalgia for the Tropicana's past glory, while others see it as a property that has fallen behind the competition and is holding valuable land hostage. The real estate beneath Tropicana is prime strip property, and analysts warn that its value as a plot of land far exceeds its current earning potential. This has sparked speculation that the property could be sold, redeveloped, or demolished if performance does not improve. Tropicana's decline is severe, but the next casino faces a far deeper threat. It's not just aging infrastructure, it's massive debt and shrinking revenue that could trigger an outright bankruptcy. Number 3, Circus Circus. Circus Circus has long been one of the most recognizable names on the Las Vegas Strip. Opened more than 57 years ago, it earned a reputation as a family-friendly resort, featuring circus acts, carnival games, and a playful, colorful aesthetic that distinguished it from the high-end glitz of newer resorts. Children and families flocked to the Adventure Dome, the indoor amusement park, while gamblers tried their luck on the casino floor. For decades, it was a reliable destination, combining low-cost accommodations with entertainment and a quirky personality. But today, Circus Circus is facing a serious crisis that threatens its very survival. The primary challenge is financial. Circus Circus is burdened with mounting debt and a declining revenue stream. Ownership changes over the past decade have created uncertainty about the property's future. The current owner purchased the resort for over $825 million just a few years ago. Since then, the property has struggled to generate sufficient profit, with gaming revenue consistently falling year over year. Visitors have steadily declined, both in the casino and hotel areas, as new resorts and entertainment complexes offer flashier experiences. Many tourists are no longer willing to pay for Circus Circus's outdated rooms and attractions, leaving occupancy rates hovering around 65% on weekdays and just 75% on weekends, a sharp decline from the peak years of 90% occupancy. Operating costs are another major concern. Maintaining circus acts, carnival rides, and the Adventure Dome is expensive. Staff salaries for performers, maintenance crews, and ride operators alone cost tens of millions annually. Utility bills are enormous, especially for climate control, which is critical in Las Vegas's extreme heat. Renovations are overdue, as rooms and public areas show signs of long-term wear, including faded paint, worn carpets, and broken fixtures. Even the newer sections of the property, such as the modest hotel towers, fail to impress visitors expecting modern amenities. Each year, management faces the choice of investing hundreds of millions to update the property or continuing to operate a gradually deteriorating resort. Staffing is another challenge. Circus Circus has suffered from high employee turnover, leaving many positions filled by temporary or inexperienced workers. This has affected the quality of service, from housekeeping to guest relations. Families visiting the resort often notice the difference, with slower check-ins, underwhelming dining experiences, and reduced attention on the casino floor. Corporate management has also implemented staffing cuts in response to financial pressure, compounding these problems. The result is a service environment that fails to meet visitor expectations and undermines repeat bookings. Marketing and branding are additional issues. Circus Circus's circus-themed identity, once a major selling point, now feels outdated. Modern tourists are drawn to immersive luxury, digital integration, and high-end entertainment. Circus acts and carnival attractions, while nostalgic, no longer provide a compelling reason to choose the property over other resorts. Attempts to modernize or revamp the brand have been minimal, with only small investments made in the Adventure Dome and arcade areas. These updates have failed to attract new visitors or reverse the decline in casino traffic. The property's debt situation is also alarming. Circus Circus owes significant sums to creditors, and its cash flow is under pressure. Analysts suggest that without substantial revenue growth or outside investment, bankruptcy could become inevitable within the next few years. Unlike other resorts with premium pricing and high-margin services, Circus Circus relies heavily on volume from low-cost hotel rooms and casual gamblers. When occupancy drops or gambling revenue falls, the financial impact is immediate and severe. Foot traffic on the North Strip further complicates the situation. Circus Circus is somewhat isolated compared to the concentrated activity of the Central Strip. While Resorts World and other newer developments have drawn visitors to high-end areas, the North Strip remains less frequented. This means fewer casual gamblers and less revenue from restaurants, retail, and entertainment. The property's location, once an advantage for family-oriented travelers, now limits its potential audience and makes competing with modern resorts increasingly difficult. Circus Circus may be holding on by a thread, but the next casino faces a lethal combination of high-profile lawsuits, declining attendance, and an eroding reputation. This one could vanish faster than anyone expects. Number 2. The Rio All-Suite Hotel and Casino.
Hotel's multi-million-dollar renovation. Its new owner wants to bring back its popularity from decades ago. And today, 8 News Now reporter Ryan Matthey digs into an expansion that involves bridging a gap between the Rio and the Strip.
The Rio is coming back.
Is that the product will ultimately speak for itself?
That's according to it.
The Rio All-Suite Hotel and Casino was once a shining star on the Las Vegas Strip. Opened more than 30 years ago, it quickly became famous for its massive all-suite accommodations, vibrant nightlife, and high-profile events. The resort was a magnet for celebrities, large conventions, and tourists looking for a luxury experience with space, style, and entertainment all in one place. Its signature suites offered more room than many other Strip hotels, and the resort became a reliable choice for groups, parties, and convention attendees. For years, the Rio's combination of convenience, entertainment, and notoriety made it one of the city's premier destinations. Today, the story is very different. The Rio is struggling under a combination of aging infrastructure, declining bookings, and rising operational costs. Visitor numbers have steadily decreased over the past 5 years. Once bustling with tourists and international travelers, occupancy rates now hover between 60 and 65%. A far cry from the 90% occupancy the resort enjoyed at its peak. Convention bookings, once a major source of revenue, have slowed, leaving large halls and meeting spaces largely underutilized. Even weekends, traditionally the busiest time for Vegas resorts, fail to match previous performance. The casino side of the Rio is feeling similar pressure. Gambling revenue, once a dependable stream, has declined year after year. Slot machines and table games attract fewer players, and high-stakes gamblers increasingly prefer newer, flashier resorts that offer modern amenities, better service, and integrated digital options. Online gambling has further eroded foot traffic, with casual players choosing to wager from home rather than navigate crowded casinos with aging layouts. The Rio, despite its historic reputation, is no longer seen as a top-tier destination for gaming. Financially, the resort is under significant strain. Maintaining the sprawling complex of over 2,000 suites, multiple restaurants, nightclubs, and entertainment venues is costly. Utility bills, especially for air conditioning, lighting, and water, are enormous. And ongoing maintenance for elevators, plumbing, and electrical systems adds millions in annual expenses. Renovations are overdue, and while minor upgrades have been made, the property shows signs of long-term wear. Carpets are faded, paint is chipped, fixtures are outdated, and some suites no longer meet the expectations of modern visitors. Keeping the resort operational without significant investment has become a balancing act between cost-cutting and maintaining a minimum standard of comfort. Staffing challenges add another layer of difficulty. Employee turnover is high, leaving many positions filled by temporary workers or less experienced staff. This affects guest services across the property, from check-in and housekeeping to food service and casino operations. Labor shortages in Las Vegas have made hiring and retaining employees even more difficult, creating pressure to operate with a skeleton crew in certain areas. Corporate management has responded with cost-saving measures, including reduced hours and streamlined operations. But these actions can unintentionally harm guest experience and reputation. Ownership changes over the past decade that have created uncertainty for the Rio. Multiple attempts to sell or modernize the property have fallen short. Promises of renovations and improvements have often been delayed or canceled, leaving visitors with inconsistent experiences. Analysts note that without a substantial injection of capital, the resort's aging infrastructure and declining brand appeal could lead to a rapid deterioration of both revenue and reputation. Creditors are closely monitoring the property, aware that if conditions do not improve, bankruptcy may be inevitable within the next 2 years. The Rio faces competition from every direction. New mega resorts on the Strip, such as Resorts World and the Sphere area developments, offer modern suites, integrated technology, and high-end dining that make the Rio's offerings look dated in comparison. Even nearby off-strip casinos have upgraded their amenities to attract budget-conscious tourists seeking newer accommodations. The combination of aging rooms, declining convention bookings, and outdated entertainment options has left the Rio struggling to compete in a market where expectations for luxury and innovation continue to rise. Despite these challenges, the Rio has not yet closed its doors. The resort still hosts some conventions, events, and entertainment shows, and lower-cost travelers continue to book suites due to its large room size and relative affordability. The property continues to generate cash flow, albeit declining, which allows the owners to maintain minimal operations. But every day without major upgrades or strategic investment increases the risk that the Rio could fall behind completely, becoming irrelevant in a city that thrives on novelty and high-end experiences. If the Rio's fall seems shocking, brace yourself. The #1 casino on our countdown is in the most danger of all. Its debt, declining reputation, and mismanagement could make it the first to officially collapse. Number 1. Planet Hollywood. Planet Hollywood has long been one of the most recognized names on the Las Vegas Strip. With its celebrity partnerships, movie-themed branding, and flashy signage, it was once considered a top destination for tourists seeking a high-energy nightlife and entertainment experience. At its peak, the resort drew in thousands of guests daily, hosting blockbuster events, famous performers, and convention gatherings. The combination of luxury hotel suites, multiple restaurants, nightclubs, and a casino floor made Planet Hollywood a major player in the city's tourism economy. Today, the picture is starkly different. Planet Hollywood is facing severe financial instability, and experts warn it could be the first among the top 5 at-risk casinos to close permanently. Revenue has been in decline for several years. Hotel occupancy, once consistently above 85%, has fallen to just under 60%. The casino, which historically generated substantial income from table games and slot machines, now sees fewer high-stakes players. Regular visitors have shifted to newer, flashier resorts, and younger tourists increasingly prefer integrated digital experiences and online gambling options. The combination of these factors has created a significant revenue gap that management is struggling to close. Operating costs are another major challenge. Planet Hollywood occupies a prime location on the Strip, and the expenses for staffing, utilities, and daily operations are enormous. Energy bills for lighting, cooling, and electronic signage alone reach into the tens of millions annually. The property requires constant maintenance, from elevators and plumbing systems to interior decor and casino equipment. Aging infrastructure has made even routine repairs costly, and deferred maintenance has begun to show in the quality of rooms, casino floors, and public spaces. Without significant investment, the property risks declining further, potentially creating a downward spiral of revenue and guest satisfaction. Renovations and branding projects, once a hallmark of Planet Hollywood, have also stalled. Celebrity-endorsed restaurants, themed suites, and entertainment venues were major draws when they opened. But over time, the costs of maintaining these attractions have outweighed the returns. many updates were halted due to lack of capital, leaving sections of the property outdated compared to newer resorts like Resorts World and the Sphere area developments. Guests now notice worn carpets, outdated furniture, and limited technology integration, which affects both comfort and the perception of value. Without investment to modernize, Planet Hollywood is at risk of losing the very visitors who once made it famous. Debt obligations are another critical factor. Investor confidence in Planet Hollywood is low, and financial backers are wary of committing more funds. The resort carries significant loans, and repayment schedules are increasingly challenging as revenue declines. Analysts warn that if the property cannot generate enough income to cover operating costs and debt service, bankruptcy could occur within the next 2 to 3 years. The risk is compounded by the fact that the gaming industry itself is shifting rapidly. Online gambling and mobile betting platforms are drawing revenue away from brick-and-mortar casinos, leaving traditional resorts to compete for a shrinking pool of high-value patrons. Competition on the Strip is intense. Neighboring resorts are offering larger, more luxurious rooms, modernized casino floors, and integrated experiences that appeal to both domestic and international tourists. Planet Hollywood, despite its iconic name and brand recognition, struggles to match the level of investment and innovation seen in new properties. Even mid-tier resorts with smaller budgets have found ways to attract younger travelers through marketing, loyalty programs, and entertainment experiences. In this environment, Planet Hollywood's brand alone is not enough to sustain long-term profitability. Management strategies have focused on cost-cutting and operational efficiency. Staffing has been reduced in certain areas, and non-essential services have been scaled back to preserve cash flow. Marketing campaigns have emphasized promotions and package deals, hoping to attract repeat visitors. While these measures have temporarily stabilized operations, they are not long-term solutions. Without substantial renovation, debt restructuring, or a change in ownership strategy, the casino may continue to slide toward financial collapse.